So hello, this is Christy Jones, holistic health and mindfulness coach, and I'm here today with my dear friend Dan Nelson, who is a theoretical physicist. Really, he works with energy. His whole life he's worked with the understanding of energy and how it affects the physical body, really in our mental and emotional state. And so I'm so honored to have some time with Dan to ask some questions and really learn from Dan. We get to learn together. And you know, one of the things we've talked about is how everything is energy. We are energy. And that most health conditions, emotional conditions, come from a lack of energy. Can you explain a little bit about that, Dan?
Well, your condition would actually be energetic because well, let's take an example here. If I wanted to model an atom, we'll go to a football field, and in the center of the 50-yard line, I'll put a ping pong ball. That will represent the nucleus.
Okay.
Where would the electrons be? Way out in the end zones, okay?
Okay.
So an atom is all space.
Okay.
So, in a sense, you could think of us as a really carefully contrived illusion.
Ah,
okay.
So we're an illusion.
Well, Einstein said matter was energy in its rest state. So we're a lot of energy in its rest state.
So we're energy in its rest state.
Right.
Okay.
So we're energy that's consistent spatially, but also persistent in time.
Okay.
So the expression that people use in science is that matter is a persistent expression of energy.
Okay. Okay.
But that doesn't mean there isn't activity going on within the atom itself. There's a great amount of activity.
Okay. So I've heard that we're 99.9% space. Like we're mostly space.
Oh, mostly space.
Mostly space. Yet we still have this physical body.
Yes.
And our physical body is affected by our energy. You know, it is energy, but it's also affected that do we have an energy body around us that runs through us?
Yes, well, yeah.
How would you describe that?
We have a part of our nature exists in what you call a negative energy state.
Okay.
And that's really like a blueprint or template of us. It's entirely mathematical.
Okay.
It's based on fractals.
Okay.
Fractals at an incredibly small scale in the vacuum state around us and through us.
Okay. So we actually have a blueprint for our body.
We have a blueprint.
And so what you've been able to create is actually ways to work with that blueprint that improve health.
Yes. Many years ago, I became aware of some work that was done by Dr. Robert Fibram at Stanford University, and a parallel line of research that was done by Marion Diamond at UCLA. And they were trying to map the brain to determine what parts of the brain stored what type of information. And to their amazement, the information was stored everywhere. So the conclusion you would draw is that, well, the brain is holographic. Well, I took that a little bit further so that I could make even more sense out of it. And what I like to say when I teach in front of a group of people is that when mankind developed the computer, he had no idea he was developing something that replicates or copies his own function. Okay?
Right.
What I mean by that is if you have a computer, you have what they call a systems board. At the heart of your computer is the central processing unit, CPU, the chip.
Okay.
Okay? But is there any information stored in the chip? No. That's on the hard drive, it's in random access memory, or now it streams in over the internet, okay? All the chip does is process the information.
So our brain is a processor.
So the brain doesn't store any information. That's an illusion, and everybody falls into that trap. I don't care what their PhD is, they fall into the same trap. It's nothing but a processor.
And so where's the energy stored?
Well, some years later, there was an article in the Journal of the American Psychiatric Association, which absolutely fascinated me. And the reason why is because they were doing work on understanding what we call near-death or out-of-body experiences.
Okay.
They said when brain activity shut down below a certain threshold, they said consciousness drifts into the field where it originated in the first place. Those words I memorized from the article.
Right.
Drifts into the field where it originates in the first place. So there's the illusion of thinking in the brain. No, you're processing in the brain. The information originates in an energy field around you. It's basically fractal in nature.
Okay.
So it's been said that the entire universe can be distilled down to geometry, and there's a lot of truth to that.
Yeah.
Okay? So that would be pretty much a form of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so really our memory is stored outside of us.
Our
in the
memory,
field.
yeah, our memories are stored outside of you. What you know, your knowledge, your fund of knowledge, your data bank is in a field around you and through you.
Yeah.
And it's a very sophisticated field. There's a man named Rupert Sheldrake. He referred to them as morphogenic fields. They're always constantly changing,
Okay.
and they're responding to external stimuli. So when you learn, it's not a matter of just cramming new fractal information in. The fractal information that's there is simply modified, and it keeps changing. Okay, so that's how we learn.
So learning is really a process of modifying your fractals.
Yeah, it's a process of modification, and there's addition through modification. Okay,
Okay.
That's how this works. And there are so many ideas out there that are based actually on dogma.
Right. Right.
Okay, in other words, people aren't going to let go of them.
Yeah.
Because at some point in time they were really the only explanation they had.
Right.
But doesn't mean that the explanation is accurate,
Right.
or beneficial. So by being willing to abandon the dogma, now you can get some things done.
We got to get outside the box, right? And as you've said before, you're so far out of the box, there isn't a box, right?
I forgot
this
where the
is why
box
we get along. Because we have that same belief in that. But really, what we're learning is that the brain is just a processor, and our mind is really part of the field. And as we understand energy, we really are unlimited. There's so much that we can create. So we will be back with more in just a minute. Bye for now.